believe it's been 6 months, but yeah.
Are you happy with the results?
I'm thrilled, very happy.
So let's talk about the recovery period after you were out of surgery.
Hmm.
How did, I mean, did anything take you by surprise? Were you surprised because it was harder or easier than you thought it would be, or?
Mm, it was about what I expected. I really bounced back pretty quickly after about 2 weeks.
How long was it after the surgery, after you got home, that you really started to feel comfortable going out?
Just about the 2 week period. I actually went back to work after 2 weeks, part time, but I felt good enough. And by that point, the bruising had gone down tremendously that I was able to cover it up with makeup. So I felt that I still had some swelling, but it was okay.
And how long would you say that it took before you felt like no one could know that you had had anything done? In other words, all the swelling was down and that type of thing.
I actually had, the first time was November that I was really comfortable because we made a trip to Southern California for Thanksgiving. I saw my 3 grandchildren that I hadn't seen since before the surgery, several months before the surgery, and they didn't know about it, and I was waiting to see their reaction. And they're older, you know, they're not little kids, they're like 12, 13, 15, and none of them said a word. None of them even knew. It was just grandma and but my son, who did know about it, took me aside and said, "Mom, you look great."
That's great. What about reactions of others? Not just family members, but friends and colleagues, that type of thing. What kind of reactions have you gotten?
I haven't told everyone because I kind of wanted to see what reaction I would get. And we were in the grocery store not too long after the surgery. I would say it might have been about 3 weeks, maybe 4, when definitely though all the bruising was gone. And ran into my neighbor from across the street, and I thought, oh no, she's gonna know. And we started talking. She was there with her husband, I was there with my husband, all 4 of us were talking, and she just kept kind of looking at me. And she never said anything, and she's definitely the type that would if she suspected, but she didn't, and so I felt really pleased.
What kind of advice would you give other women considering this type of procedure?
I think it's a very personal decision. It needs to be something that you really want to do for yourself, not for someone else. But if this is something you're thinking about that would make you feel better, I would really encourage you to do it, because it really has made a huge difference for me about how I feel about myself. And I wasn't really expecting it because it wasn't something I always was sure that I wanted to do until my sister, who's a couple of years older than I am, had one. And when I saw her and she looked so great and she looked younger than me, I didn't want to be the older sister, so that kind of made up my mind. And also my husband, I have to say, now calls me his hottie. And he's never called me that before, so right there, that made it worth it.
Did you have any fear leading into this procedure that that the recovery would be a horrible long time, that you would look like Quasimodo for so long that maybe it wasn't worth it? What kind of experience did you have with that, and what would you tell anyone else going through this experience?
I was fearful. I kind of tried not to think too much about the actual procedure itself and how it was going to be done, because it is kind of a scary thought to have your face cut on. I was a little bit worried that it would be painful afterward. So it worked not to dwell on it too much, to think, I mean, I needed the information to know what I was doing and getting into and be well aware of everything, but I didn't focus thinking about the actual procedure. However, the recovery, I was a little nervous about that. I didn't know how painful it would be. And actually, I don't remember it being terribly painful at all. It's kind of a surface type of a procedure. It's not like having a tummy tuck or something where they're going deep. So there wasn't a lot of pain involved. There was swelling and a sense of tightness around the face. And that's really normal. And as the swelling goes down, it sort of subsides, so it doesn't hurt. But you are aware of this sensation, and it almost feels like you have a chin strap. In fact, I can still feel it a little bit under here, which is, it's not bothersome at all. You're given medications to keep you comfortable at home. Take pain medication. I really didn't need those. I took them for about 2 or 3 days, I think. And then after that, it really wasn't necessary. So I think with anything, the anticipation is always worse than the reality.
Let's talk about Dr. Delgado and the staff at Marin Cosmetic Surgery Center. How would you rate them? How would you say the experience from that aspect went?
It was a really nice situation because he has his own team. He has his own surgery center. So you get a sense of that all of these people all work together all the time. It's not, you're not dealing with strangers or people who don't know each other. I felt that Dr. Delgado was very knowledgeable and really did a good job in expressing, explaining my concerns to me. He took his time. I never felt rushed, which I have in other situations. So it's always good to feel comfortable with your surgeons, so that that alone made me feel more relaxed, especially going into surgery. But the staff was amazing. The nurses, from the first phone call to the very end of it, I felt very comfortable with everyone there.
How do you feel, Janice? Did this procedure make you feel? Compare yourself to what you felt before the surgery to the aftermath now, which is visually stunning. How do you feel?
Well, that's a really good question, because it really does make a difference. I feel that I look younger, and so it makes me act younger. I find myself wanting to do more activities than I used to. I mean, my husband and I are going out and riding bikes on the weekend and going out dancing and just enjoying things like shopping for clothes. I find myself looking for younger clothes than I used to. So it's just sort of affected me all over. And it's really fun to run into people and they tell me how great I look, and I kind of wonder, do they know? Do they suspect? I don't care. Hey, they told me I look great and I feel great. I think that it's really important to decide what's important to you as far as doing something to make you feel better about yourself, whatever it is. If it's losing weight, getting a facelift, whatever it is, pursue it. And don't just dream about it. Don't think, I only wish I could, because you can.